Scout Logistics was a successful and highly collaborative project from start to finish. We worked closely with Scout Coal Logistics and their tenant, a global meal kit brand, to design and build a complex box-in-box cold storage processing and packaging facility.
So this is a 88,000 square foot box-in-box with a 0-degree freezer, an ambient warehouse, cool dock, and ready to heat and ready to cook meal prep room. And it was built in an existing 550,000 square foot tilt panel warehouse which was partially occupied at the time by an operational tenant.
What was unique about this project is that in this case, we had a building owner, we had a tenant, we had a program manager of that tenant, and then we had our construction group of Griffco. That is really what was really unique about this project, is that there are so many people involved and it had to be integrated from the very beginning. So we weren't just in an isolated silo doing the work. It was really a team effort. There were many challenges as we started into this project. Definitely the program itself was challenging. The project type was challenging. There was a freezer component, there was a cooler component, dry storage, a cooler dock, welfare, office, all inside an existing building. So we were essentially building a building within a building.
One of the unique things about the Lancaster code requirements is they've actually took a red pencil and scratched out the exemption in the code book requiring smoke and heat evac in freezers and cooler spaces. And so we actually had to go back and work with the design and engineering teams to invent a method to bring air through from the outside, through the dock, time it all with the doors, up and out of the space, all while maintaining the temperature in the space, as well as mitigating any condensation that would be created from that process.
And they required us to have a joint fire riser room that they could go to with a special panel that labeled what zones were for what tenant back to a central location, so that if there's a fire in the rear of the building, it could be activated versus the entire building itself.
One of the, I would say, constraints during construction that we encountered was when we were doing all of our trenching and installation of the new plumbing system for this tenant. We actually hit rock, which was a first for me in a box-in-box. We hit rock and it was pretty substantial, and it would have been a schedule impact. So we had a bi-weekly sub-meeting, which we had to coordinate pretty much every day who was going to be in what quadrant of that footprint. And we had to utilize road plates and things like that for the lifts to gain access and be able to drive over these trenches. And because we did that, we were actually able to mitigate all of the scheduling impact that would have been created by the rock.
We primarily use BIM here. And in this case, it was a very valuable tool because it was a very complicated project. So we did a 3D model from start to finish on this project. With so many people involved, that became critical for people to understand the complexities of the project. I think what I'm most proud about of this project is the amount of input from the owner, the user, construction, what we had to overcome in the design review process, bringing that all together and completing the project on time and on budget.
Just the extra level of scrutiny from the tenant in particular and their standards as it relates to food safety and how they run their business. You could tell from the very beginning they were going to be involved in every decision. So coordinating with multiple entities, not only the contract holder / developer, but also the tenant. At the same time, keeping a occupied building and the tenants happy, never allowing any of their facilities, whether it be their power, their fire alarm, life safety components, to go down during the construction of this process. We were able to achieve all that and ultimately, in conjunction with working through a building department that has very high standards and requires a lot of information that to be on the plans that we're not typically accustomed to having on the plans. I think that definitely added a lot of complexity along the way.
As founder and CEO of Griffco, I'm extremely proud of our team and how they performed on this project. It was a complex project with a lot of moving parts, and we were able to deliver the project on time and in budget, and we're looking forward to working again with Scout Coal Logistics on other projects.